Shake their hand. Greet them. Give them a hug. This is your community. These are your brothers and your sisters. We today are united.
The Christian Crusade. Is a religious right conquering Britain? Right. Before we dive into this absolutely extraordinary story that's unfolding on our very doorstep, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, because what I'm about to tell you will fundamentally change how you view British politics forever. And trust me, you'll want to be part of this conversation as it develops. So here's a question that's been keeping me awake at night. Was Tommy Robinson's latest march actually a Christian crusade disguised as a political rally? Because what I witnessed on the streets of London wasn't just another protest. It was something far more profound and, frankly, rather unsettling. We're talking about Bible verses on banners, crosses everywhere, and people literally dressed as medieval crusaders marching through the heart of our capital. But here's where it gets really interesting. Many of these so-called Christian warriors don't even attend church. Let me paint you the scene from Saturday's Unite the Kingdom March. Picture this. 110,000 people streaming across Blackfriars Bridge, and I'm walking among them as a reporter, surrounded by individuals in actual Crusader costumes, waving St. George flags and Union Jacks like their lives depend on it. But it's not the flags that caught my attention, it's the banners. Jesus the way, the truth, the life, turn back to God, biblical quotations everywhere you look. The timing? Absolutely perfect. This march coincided with the feast of the exaltation of the Holy Cross, celebrated by Christians worldwide. Coincidence? I think not. Now, if you're thinking this sounds like something straight out of the medieval period, you'd be spot on. Because these marches weren't just carrying crosses symbolically, they genuinely believed they were part of something much bigger. Remember Constantine's vision before the Battle of Milvian Bridge in 312 AD? The cross in the sky within this sign, "You will conquer," written beneath it? Well, that's precisely the energy these demonstrators were channeling. They see themselves as modern-day Christian warriors, and Britain as a battlefield that needs reconquering. But here's where the story takes a rather fascinating turn, and please do subscribe if you haven't already, because this investigation goes deeper than you might expect. I started questioning these flag-waving, Bible-quoting marches about their faith, and the responses were absolutely extraordinary. Stuart Connolly from Birmingham told me something that sent chills down my spine. I think a lot of people are looking for something, and what they're really looking for is Jesus Christ. When they are patriotic and yearn for a different era in England, that is what they desire. It's essentially Christian ideals when we could love and trust one another. Mary from Liverpool, who belongs to a house church, put it even more starkly. The nation needs more than just some values. They need Jesus as an anchor. But when pressed for specifics about what this actually means in practical terms, the answers became rather vague, didn't they? Tom from Chelmsford spoke about love and tolerance, but in the same breath complained that this is our country and it's being taken over, though he couldn't quite articulate by whom or what should be done about it. Now here's where things get properly controversial, so make sure you're subscribed because this content might not stay up forever. I encountered a young man carrying a banner with biblical quotations, and when I asked if he was a Christian who'd be attending church on Sunday, his answer was rather revealing. No, he wasn't alone. Several individuals waving Jesus flags admitted they weren't actually Christians at all. So why were they there? Another chap explained his Knights Templar cross flag thusly. It's a crusade cross. It represents the crusaders who drove the Muslims and Islamists from Europe. When I asked if he wanted to see the same thing happening in Britain, his response was unequivocal. Yes, 100%. We need our country back, and we need to keep getting back to what we used to be. In the 1950s, for example, men were men and they all went to work. Unlike the genuine Christians I spoke with, this modern-day crusader had very specific proposals. He advocated for mass deportations of illegal immigrants, Donald Trump style, he said, and when I asked how these people might be identified if they no longer had documentation, his answer was blood tests. Blood tests. Let that sink in for a moment. It was at this point that things turned rather unpleasant for me personally. I heard someone shout from behind, "Here's a lefty," followed by a string of expletives from men ordering me to stop filming. When I protested that this was supposed to be a free speech rally, they responded with physical aggression. 2 men pushed me and pursued me through the crowd. Fortunately, they were rather intoxicated, so I was more likely to trip over them than be seriously harmed. But this incident reminded me of something Nick Timothy, the conservative and Christian MP, said after recent violence. When words fail, violence becomes a response. What we're seeing from the political right mirrors what we've witnessed from the left, except now it's cloaked in religious respectability, Bible verses, St. George's flags, and prayers providing a veneer of legitimacy. The main platform featured a praise and worship band, led by Pastor Ricky Doolan, who was previously filmed in an Al Jazeera investigation offering assistance with money laundering, and a priest in bishop's attire led the crowd in reciting the Lord's Prayer. But the most extraordinary moment came via video link from Elon Musk himself, arguing that Parliament should be dissolved and warning that massive uncontrolled migration was causing the destruction of Britain. He told the audience that violence is coming and you either fight back or you die. Several Christian speakers echoed Musk's disturbing themes. Brian Tamaki of New Zealand's Destiny Church led Maori dances in the haka before his team destroyed flags bearing the inscriptions Muslim Brotherhood, Secular Humanism, Islamic State, and Palestine. His message to the crowd was crystal clear. This is a religious war. It's Jesus Christ against Satan, Christianity against the rest. Islam, Hinduism, Baha'i, Buddhism, whatever else you're into, it's all false religion. We must cleanse our nations. We must remove anything that doesn't know or welcome Jesus Christ. The crowd absolutely erupted in applause. If you're finding this content valuable, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell because we're going to be covering the implications of this movement extensively. Tommy Robinson himself acknowledged the Christian messaging, telling the crowd, "There's been a globalist revolution. They have targeted the family. They have targeted Christianity. They have flooded our countries after opening the borders. We are the beginning of a counter-revolution." Following him were far-right and nationalist politicians from across Europe. A German AfD MP, cancelled Romanian presidential candidate George Simeon, representative from the Danish People's Party, the extreme Belgian party of Vlaams Belang, and others, all advocating respect for God, faith, family, homeland. But perhaps the most absurd moment came from Eric Zemmour, the fourth-place French far-right presidential candidate, who told the crowd in broken English, "I am happy to convey to you the admiring greetings of the French from London. I am proud to be one of the English people standing up." Pure Python-esque comedy, if it weren't so sinister. So the question we must ask ourselves is this: are we witnessing the beginning of a religious revolution in Britain? Tommy Robinson claims to have found Christ during his imprisonment, participating in weekly Bible studies under the guidance of what he calls a lovely Asian pastor. He told podcaster Liam Tufts, "I've gone through the Bible, and as I went through it, I saw that the Bible is the source of all of it. Everything that makes up our nation, every phrase, everything, is derived from the Bible. And when did this nation begin to crumble? When it lost its faith and sense of self." Here's what makes this particularly troubling. Robinson and his followers are appropriating Christian symbolism while fundamentally misunderstanding Christian theology. The Bible actually demonstrates that the way of the cross is one of powerlessness and weakness, not conquest and dominance. As Philippians 2 verse 6 states, Jesus emptied himself and became obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. The flags combined with faith, the platform given to genuine fascist politicians, and the mainstream party's failure to address these concerns creates a perfect storm. When political systems fail to address legitimate grievances, people turn to alternative solutions, and what we're seeing is a weaponization of Christianity by those who may not even believe in its core tenets. Make sure you're subscribed because the story is far from over. The rise of this Christian nationalist movement in Britain represents something unprecedented in our modern political landscape. We're talking about people who feel so abandoned by traditional politics that they are willing to embrace a religious crusade as a solution to their perceived national crisis. The implications are staggering. We have individuals calling for blood tests to identify people for deportation, others advocating for the complete prohibition of non-Christian religious expression, and all of this wrapped in the language of faith and patriotism. It's a combustible mixture that history has shown us leads to very dark places indeed. But here's what's most concerning. These aren't fringe voices anymore. With 110,000 people marching through London, international far-right politicians providing support, and even Elon Musk lending his voice to the cause, this movement has reached a critical mass that cannot be ignored. The question for British politics is whether our mainstream parties will finally recognize the scale of this challenge and respond accordingly, or whether this Christian nationalist movement will continue to grow in the vacuum left by political indifference. Because one thing is absolutely certain, ignoring this phenomenon won't make it disappear. That's why it's crucial you subscribe to UK Connors and hit that notification bell. We're the only channel providing this level of in-depth analysis of the forces reshaping British politics. The mainstream media either ignores these developments or covers them superficially, but here we dig deeper into the uncomfortable truths that others won't touch. Your subscription keeps this vital work going, and frankly, our democracy depends on people like you staying informed about these critical developments. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind sharp, because the Britain we wake up to tomorrow may be very different from the one we knew yesterday.